January 12th, 2019, 9:24 a.m. Hope. Now it's not working at all. I was voice typing. Someone jamming the phone to the point that it's fitting the wrong text up there. While somebody's trying to play illegal act. Ha ha ha. It said something like I was doing prediction of selling stock, and it said prediction of selling male teenager. What? I said hope. It hit poop. I deleted it. I said hope. It hit poop. I deleted it. I said hope. It hit poop. I deleted it and picked the phone up to record it. Hope. 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 Finally. 10 times. As hard as I can get aggravated. Even though I was aggravated before and it still didn't register. Finally registers. Using ZTE Blade X Max, which is also all messed up now. Walking around with these guys threatening, making tones, insinuations, derogatory under the breath remarks, or just utilizing a negative type of non-communicative value. Sometimes it's not saying anything, just insinuating looks, gestures, and all the rest, while 1 minute trying to enforce that, I'm messed up and I need to take care of myself. You shouldn't be nosing into my business or concerning yourself with myself before you concern yourself with yourself. You're starting to bug me by getting in my business. I get irritated and they keep calling out psychological. That will get you. Psychological assault, threat, systematical assault, and threat. I explain this to the system. They're the ones that put the words in my mouth of it being systematical assault. Now, whatever, pussy, schizo, mumbling every day and night. They're just taking turns, playing that they're law enforcement, investigating, and utilizing some type of punishment. Restrainative punishment, social restrictive punishment. I don't have anything on my record for them to do it, so it can't be legal. It shouldn't be legal. I could talk to a lawyer, which I'm willing to do. I'm willing to face up that they're doing a certain amount of stuff that is okay, and a certain amount of stuff, not even just a certain. I would say 90% of their stuff, if not going to 100% of their stuff, is corrupted and illegal. Not just because it's working against me, because I've been told so. Homosexual organized crime involved with it. The detectives are all homosexual. Everyone that's pertaining that they're law enforcement or pertaining to assaulting me, they're all homosexual, for real. Transgender, gay, bisexual, you can't miss it. They're very flamboyant with it. And it was just explained like in New York City when I was out there 2015. Homosexual organized crime, basically. The way they're organizing things, the way how harsh it is, and stalking. I forgot to mention the point in this video, which I do in many videos. Stalking across the United States have done for many, many years. Assaults, there's been unassociated legally things that's happened that they also murmur about under the breath. That's why it makes it so harsh. But getting back to electronics. They love jamming the electronics as if they're taking my rights to access them away. There's no paperwork in the courts. If you go try to tell on this, you don't know how to explain it, you'll look like a nutcase, and we'll have more hand and leverage with you to lock you up. Threat, intimidation. Communal complete sabotage, social sabotaging, lively sabotaging, trying to set up, lie, perjuries, all the rest. And I told this to the system and they agreed. They're utilizing something close to LRAD machinery also, on top of a bunch of other shit. And scolding, ridiculing. You're not okay. I need to tell you this. You need to obey by me because I perceptualize it. I'll go get law enforcement involved. I'll go get my buddies involved and have them enforce behind a badge and oath that it's okay. I've called internal affairs and found out the acts of the officers, what was said and what was done was completely illegal, completely wrong. I do not have to abide by what they said. And that's the reason why I called internal affairs, because I knew I was in the right being scolded. If I think differently, something's going to happen to me. And there's also, not just systematically, there's also been neighborhood shit. Hardcore stuff with the police. Rape, assaults, negative, corrupted bullshit. Right here in Columbus, Ohio, Westside Bottoms. 333 West Town Street. And that has a bigger story to it also, but hey, they're rolling around with electronic jamming, also doing the same thing that was caught in Colorado Springs, me being told it's legal, like I'm being warned by the police as I'm walking around, and then finally, years after all this shit happened, it's the same people that's out here in Columbus 10, 12 years later, same characteristics, same shit, positive of it. People, I walk out perfectly good strangers in New York, notice, I show up or I'm in a neighborhood, I say hi to a few people and they start realizing I'm being stalked and they mention it. Yeah, the people that I'm believing and trusting that this is going on is pretty good strangers, not to be corruptly conspiratoriated, not to come up. Some of it is to where these other guys have picked up on I was getting help like that and misfeeding, just like the police was, misfeeding the wrong information to myself. So it makes me look bad. It's social sabotage. And, well, yeah, it's up to me to mentally understand some of it, but some of that stuff is being lied to. If you're going to be lied to, sometimes you just can't make the right, proper, intelligent decision on it, for the fact you didn't have the information or the correct information. That wasn't completely your fault. Responsibilities and all the rest. Anyhow, so they was busted in Colorado Springs for doing the same thing to a point. But it's not as bad. I won't say it wasn't. I won't put a degree to it. But here in Columbus, Ohio, just outright complete social sabotage. Now, across the United States, there's multitudes of states. I remember the incidences like it's just, I don't know. It's because it's something to remember. And they keep saying somebody from Columbus, Ohio, and Columbus, Ohio system causing me the troubles. Why not leave? What did I just say is the way I'm putting this question before it's ever asked. What did I say about traveling? I was stalked and followed. I tried to leave. It doesn't work. I tried to travel. It didn't work. Not just like, well, I moved somewhere else and they showed back up, which is true, but even more extensive that I kept moving and they kept moving with me. I kept literally not moving address. I kept moving by walking, hiking. Most of it wasn't even in a vehicle. Most of it was walking across the United States. Backtracking, going forward, backtracking and finding out they're utilizing some type of lawfulization that is only one-time use type of shit or something, or they've lost track of, man, the whole social situation that's going on, which was also some of the people that was around when I was traveling through, coming back out, and it's like, yeah, somebody was starting massive trouble. And now that you've kind of split off, I was able to lose the trail for a second. Everything's abnormal. While you got police officers in here trying to enforce an authoritative tone that no, this is how life works, this is the correctness, this is correct. To turn back around to find out the corruption, they lied. They lied. They also assaulted psychologically. That's psychological harassment and assault. Or the fact they're forcefully telling you to think in a certain way, or telling me to think in a certain way, much less against the community itself that they're doing it in. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I have the say-so, the power, and the authority. You don't talk back to me. Psychological brutality, if not what Twin Valley here, mental health, said that's brutality. It's not physical brutality, it's verbal and mental brutality. And these guys have gotten away with it. Even though Twin Valley is not a great place either for the fact the shit that happened there, excuse the lingo. And the people that are involved have access into there. Had their people there multitudes of times running their own stuff. Doing things on the inside as if it's a forensic test of my recollection of memory. Like stuff that I seen on the internet at Lisa Warner's house here in Grove City. A friend of my mom's. And she's involved with a bunch of Italian stuff, but she's involved with Sheriff's Department. Her whole family is Sheriff's Department to a point. And she works for the government. Another transgender, though. And with that being said, another homosexual tie. But with that also being said, the things that I seen on her computer as I was staying with my mom and her 10, 20 years ago, 2008 was one of them. The incident that happened in 2011 at Twin Valley, 2012. There's two different year dates at the end of 2011, beginning of 12. Because I went back to Twin Valley multitudes of times, and that's why they kept saying somebody's systematically assaulting you, falsely perjurizing and wrongfully reporting things. Anyways, with that being said, the gimmicks that they played in Twin Valley, some of it was physical assault, like a weight bench. Me watching YouTube funny videos back in 2008, how to take the pin out of a weight bench, turn it backwards. That way when somebody goes to lift the weights up, the pin shoots out and smacks them in the head. That's the perception of it. The way these guys did it wasn't just smacked in the head. Trying to make it like sniper, killer, setup bullshit. Harder. What you gonna do? Prove it. How do you prove a situation like that? There were staff members involved with that, just like the police have been involved in wrong actions of saying, hey, this is the way it works. I'm the law. You'll listen to me. And I had to call internal affairs, mayors, all kinds of shit to find out, no, you was completely done wrong, disregard, and on top, whatever, call in, here's the report, or it'll be looked into, or that person be, told or looked into to see what can be done disciplinary action-wise. But as far as the threat there of I'll lock you up, I'll do this, I'll do that, complete psychological brutality. Anyways, all of this over wrong speaker. It was working good. All of a sudden it changed. I got someone, Ella Purdue, next door to me, always enacting in a strange drug addict, but at the same time enacting as if they work with the fire department, acting as if they work with law enforcement, no matter what it is. They're family law enforcement. You got Janara Torres and Thomas Stuckman. There's a whole story on that. I'll explain that coming out, but they basically assaulted me, and as I was being assaulted physically, warning me that they're law enforcement and they ain't taking my shit, type of stuff. So, and on top, keeping at it. You don't faze me. Just like I don't faze because they don't have a badge on, and I was already discussing that elsewhere, that they didn't show badge, they just showed the intellect behind the authoritative education, basically. The same ideal techniques as a law enforcement agent would use. We're profiling you, I'll tell you what to do. There's other things that's going on that they have control of, or apparently have control of, while telling me, you'll do as I say. Basically trying to, if you don't abide by our gay rights, we're going to fry your mind up. We're going to fry your electronics up. We're going to socially, lifely sabotage you. And that's what we've done. What you going to do about it? You sound like a nutcase. Nobody's going to believe you. Carl Newman, one of the major and another main point, lives right across the street. The same gentleman that lives across the street, same with the rest of Ella Purdue, Janara Torres, and Thomas Stuckman, all have been seen out of state, elsewhere. Ella Purdue stuff dates back to the hiking trips. Way back when I was trying to lose people. Ella Purdue's associated with someone named Cheryl Mills. Cheryl Mills was a part of a community situation, not community completely this community, Columbus, Ohio, but in another part that I traveled to in 1999. Cheryl Mills was also mentioned through 1999, and I remember the aggravation of being at my grandmother's house and somebody talking from about 2 blocks away trying to say stuff. Like, I'm not allowed to be alive, I'm not allowed to do this or whatever. My family is in on part of this. But anyways, the situation of me saying that, it sounds psychotic. In Florida State, they busted the people. They had IDs. They pulled them over. They was 6 to 8 blocks away screaming and shouting. I was the target from that. The weird shit that comes out from that is that back then I was from Colorado. And they had Colorado ID. I had Colorado ID. The police never came to me, said they would pick up the situation. They would criminally charge the other people. I didn't even have to have anything to do with it. But they understand now. They have Colorado ID. I have one. They shouldn't be there with me. That's more than just a community. Hey, I don't like that guy. That's more and 100 billion% interstate stalking, harassment, terrorizing, and everything else. Oh, we have a lawful right to do this. We're telling you. We have people to back us. We have corrupt law enforcement, corrupt government to help us out. With that being said, the Cheryl Mills related to the next door neighbor through another party, though. The other party also lived in Colorado Springs, but I didn't recognize that party till too late after being around that party in Colorado Springs, where I was living with my older brother that was a part of the social sabotaging situation that's been going on and continuously, and the assaults and all the rest of the stuff. But that person being related to Cheryl Mills 1999 also being around. It was the same girl that was around her in 1999 in Colorado Springs in 2000. And I'd even say 2001, but 2000 is when I was at an apartment 5 doors down, 2 doors down, and I'll even remember that. It might have been 4 actually, from the apartment that my brother had and that I started living with after my grandfather died. And that was the same chick. That same chick also was in Florida State. That chick was associated with Ella Purdue, neighbor next door, Texas. An incident that broke out there that they was throwing rocks at me. But some of that was maybe in, always trying to be kind and polite. With another semi-truck driver type of situation, which was another situation that they're intimidating with, that we have connections. These connections, this chick also appears with some type of United States, either Air Force or military intelligence people in New York City, and trying to inflame or associate that they have authority that way. CIA conspiracy or da-da-da. Which is, some of it may even be the damn truth. It's still military grade intelligence. United States Air Force me being assaulted by that stuff. For no reason. With proof, I don't know. If you have to ask, why don't you take the time to come and stand out there to prove it? You want to personally have it proven to yourself, take the proof that way. Take the time for yourself to come prove it. But don't question me in one sense, but then again, I understand that's kind of a snap-off remark for myself, not too stable, for the fact that I need to prove myself with all the stuff that I'm saying. But electronic jamming massively. Not cell phones, not just laptops, heaters, furnaces, electrical boxes, TVs, even just out of thin air freaking bullcrap. There is tons of other things to include, like implants. Like illegally being implanted, operated on while I was detoxicated. Or in the hospital for alcohol over-intoxication. Even in Colorado Springs. But the other stuff I'm talking about is January 2010. Positive of the month. The exact date would be between January 26th and I would almost say 28th, but I'll go from the 26th to the 30th, and it wasn't. It was the 26th or the 28th that a certain amount of situations happened while I was intoxicated completely, supposedly blacked out, but I was definitely woken up by electrical shocks and operational shit going on, and it wasn't because there's no paperwork for it. If there's a reason, well, maybe they was so intoxicated, there's no reason for it. There's no paperwork for it, except for the partial intoxication omission at one hospital, even though I was at another hospital. That other hospital does have an omission for me at that date. I don't know about the time, maybe even the time, but no reason. There's no reason the record should be there. They had people come in from the outside, presidents, CEOs, technicians, to figure out why that record was there. It should not have been able to even be put into system, is what I was told. They couldn't even print it because it wasn't an actual record. Some ships like that. There's no record through mental health. After that incident, remember, I was at Twin Valley and I asked them straight out, is there some type of mental health legalization I should know that's been enforced against me that would allow any type of forced or enforced electroconvulsive therapy, which they just was like, wow, not at all. But the thing is with that situation, guess where I seen that information first? I seen that on Lisa Warner's computer back in 2008, maybe even 2000. And also, there's a couple of extents. I'll keep it at 2008, 2009, maybe even before the 2006 incident. And that'd be way carried out. And these guys replicating and mimicking and doing like they do with the videos that I do every day, going out to the stores, out in public, saying the things that I'm saying. I'm here by myself. Nobody should be able to overhear me, nothing like that. So repeating the things that I'm saying in the videos, repeating the things that I'm doing during the day, like they're also, and on top, I found cameras in house and microphones in different houses that I've been in. Do they have them here? I don't have a way to detect it. You're poor. What you gonna do? It'd cost you at least $1,000 minimum to understand what's going on with you. You're homeless. You're broke. You don't have a way and ability. We're gonna keep you from having a job. Social and systematical sabotaging. Complete assault, intimidation, threat, like human trafficking. While misutilizing the system and the system allowing it to be misutilized. You'd think the system would protect a person, and it doesn't. Or especially if the people are corrupt and have sabotaged, written off stuff, and haven't included a certain amount of stuff, or misrepresented their job, misconduct, intentionally. With that being said, a lot of different things ties in. Now look at all the ties. Interstate stalking. Carl Newman being in New York City, 2006, trying to assault me. Heather Newman being with him, his girlfriend or his sister. I'd have to say it's his girlfriend, unless they're incested, because they've been kissing, so hey. And then all of a sudden live right across the street from me here in Columbus, Ohio. What? Same people that followed me to Florida State. Same people, they involve themselves intellectually. They have certifications, criminology, trying to do whatever they can learn and certify themselves to have the backing of authority to violate another person. Organized, literally, these people taking years out of their lives to organize crime. You look at organized crime members and they do the same thing, except some of them don't come up with the certification, but they still study exactly how the systems work. These people took it to the extra hand of, hey, they don't have a criminal background. They're trying to keep themselves clean and basically covert up shit. And, hey, we'll utilize this. And okay, well, even if you do that, should I get away from it? Yes. Did I get away from it? When I keep jumping back into people's situations, I'm questioning my own self, but also trying to relate it to the people that's going to see this. Then what was the hiking for? Is that not enough? Getting away, traveling all the way through Texas, walking to Florida, walking to New York City, walking all the way back through Kansas, walking to Colorado, from Colorado. Hell, I was even in New Mexico area. And still. And there's tons more stories. 2002, when I went to Mexico, and I wasn't completely hiking on that one intentionally to get away from a problem to a point. But they followed me into Mexico and started shit. And if it's law enforcement, how are you going to start stuff as if, and I'm going to put it up, as cartel, gang member type of stuff. Criminal associations, we're better than you, we're more intelligent, we could organize and run a whole organization. You need to stop, you need to do as we tell you. My older brother, Johnny Warwicks, is a part of the situation. We had a family vacation in 1999 to Florida State. Disney World type stuff. Anyways, with that situation, guess what? Major brawl between me and him. I broke my foot by him crushing it. Family tried to play some type of cop shenanigan type of situation to gain control over me. Like they're utilizing a systematical value. And I've been told over the years, and it still exists and was taken out of the system and someone put it back there, that I was reported as a missing teenager down there. Even though less than 12 hours later, if even that, The police already came in contact with me, and that contact was massively wrong. I've called in, I've talked to situations, all the rest of the stuff. I was completely psychologically, basically assaulted, intimidated to the point scared, or felt wrongfully done. It'd be like being told no when you have a right to do what you want to do, and being told no by a restraint that you don't. Anyways, with that being said, the whole party of the type of characteristics and parties, that party was down there with my older brother, scuzzing me out. We don't like you. I have physical defects. Your older brother doesn't have to pit up with you. He doesn't have to pit up with you being alive. We don't have to pit up with you being alive. You need to stop utilizing what you're doing. You need to stop utilizing life. Claiming your last name, basically pushing me to change my name, change my relations and everything else, which would still be fine. Now they've also drawn that fine line up. Now you're a schizophrenic because you're trying these tactics, and since we're certified, I'll just certify myself with professionalism, even though I'm not employed by the government. I'm certified to be able to, but not employed, which the reason why I said that, an erection of situation happened in Colorado Springs with law enforcement, finally, good law enforcement, busting the situation as such, pulling these people over, authoritating themselves, and they have certifications and learn the situation, but they're not employed enough to have the power to authoritate that. And or, on top, not the reason to. Especially being profiled by the police, and then pulling over and said, no, you was just basically attacked, assaulted, intimidated, vehicular stalking, vehicular verbal assault. Anyways, with this being said, that's the harshness behind part of the situation that I'm going through. There's military involvements. There is Air Force that, like, I don't have a United States rights to be alive. They don't pit up with my kind. You're mentally retarded. Well, then I was told, because I asked the mental health system while I was in a probate, why don't you give me these tests? They went to test it, background, and came back with it wasn't nothing more than questions. And hey, the rest of your family's not retarded, so we're going to take a good 90% to 99.9% guess that you shouldn't have retardation. It doesn't lead in your family, so there's no associations. That is the test that we're given for right now. And I'll agree with that test without saying getting away with it. So then the mental disability is caused by what type of paralysis? What type of assault? What could cause this besides mental health itself? Schizophrenia, but there's also no leads to that to a point, I'd have to say. And even if there was, misdiagnoses. We like this because we can nag at you. Schizoid, schizo. And guess what the mental health department said? Our people and professionals would not do that. A professional would get in trouble and lose their license and revocation of certification or marks put on their record for verbal brutality, assault, remarking for, discrimination and whatever else it could come out to be. Different states, different places, but it should all come out the same. Anyways, mass amount of power. If I don't speak up and have people to support, which I don't have nobody to support anymore. I'm not in a place that's safe anymore. It's supposed to be home. I own this house to a point. My grandfather passed it down. There's a long story into that, but no matter what, the place that I'm at is the only place that I got for right now. It's stable because it's owned. It's stable because it was a family's owned home. And my grandfather passing away was trying to pass it to me, and they got in his way of passing it. Told him they would call the authorities on him, claim him incompetent, assault the crap out of his system with nobody to stand with. What's he going to do about it? And that was the whole family. Not, well, a few family members against a few family members. They're all in on it. Finding out my family has a whole lot of homosexual connectivities on top. Basically the participation of social enforcement that I'm being told I have to act a certain way, and that would be homosexual acts that they're getting their way, basically sexual related type of stuff, basically like a homosexual organized crime, human trafficking ring. They're not completely utilizing, which they are, but per se hasn't happened isn't the point, which law enforcement is the one that made the statements as such. Those are their words. But just because it ain't happened doesn't mean that they're not violating the law enough to be convincing enough that that is their intent. But that's also good law. You go and talk to a lawyer or somebody that is not right, they're not going to tell you that. Especially if they're associated with the situation, the problem, or the community and have a feel that they need to cover things up. With that being said, just a whole lot of things. I've rambled on enough. I'm going to end this video all over electronic jamming. Yes, I understand some things don't work out right. All of a sudden, my text-to-speech and all, recollection and all kinds of different things again, all screwed up. Especially when I'm saying things and it comes up as male teenager predicting me overhearing some type of insinuation that somebody's alterated the ability of me speaking to my phone and getting the right correct results out of it. Trying to imply another gay rapist family member's type of attitude that lives around and trying to utilize that as leverage. You're not mentally correct if you can't go tell on this. I hate to tell you, but I went and told the system. It was too late to tell. They couldn't convict to a point. But then again, why are you and those who have their nose stuck with the system said, and I do apologize for the terminology, the system said this. While I was sitting there with professional, county authoritative doctors, counselors, they have their nose stuck up your ass, at which point they was trying to make you a schizophrenic, as if you're bothering them and you got your nose stuck up their ass, and that's, now we know completely, that is not the damn truth. And on top, because not only just taking your word for it, with the proof of what they've reported to the system coming out invalid, negative, or perjurized, that goes to show what you're saying is true. There is perjury and all the rest, on top of them trying to be too connected to you about what your daily life is all about. That means they're sticking their nose in your business. They can't be any dumber than to report dumb shit and then get caught themselves. Is pretty much pathetic. But anyways, yeah. So that's a lot of rambling there, and I got sidetracked. And that's one thing that's happening. I'm seeing a neurologist right now, and it's being interfered with. But the comprehension, the competency test. Hey, why don't you go tell? Why don't you you don't know how to operate in the system. Well, why is that? Because you dysfuncted me in the system since I was a child. Which there are certain situations I'll go through for mental health that regulate stuff. But my situation has always came out with anything being proven, or at least talked and questioned that, you're being assaulted, stalked, and all the rest. You need to inform law enforcement or somehow get them involved. But each time I go into a certain amount of situation, there's always corruption involved. Which, Colorado Springs, look into it. Corruption. Look into New York City. When you say New York City corruption, what's the first thing that hits your mind? Corruption exists, people. I'm tired of having the situation, well, you don't have a specific situation. Well, when I call internal affairs to find out your officers completely did nothing but misinform me and enforce against me authoritatively and getting me to agree with something that is not correct, well, I find that corrupted. I find that being legit. I find that being concrete. How much more concrete can you get? How much more solid? How much truthful can it get? Anyways, ending this video, and I'll be uploading it to my website and channel and drives and backups and whatever, but without it being able to be seen by other people, this one will go up. There's tons that I'm talking about without somebody giving me some snotty excuse or ridiculing that, hey, maybe someone's seen it elsewhere. Here, you want to do that, they can imply this. You do this, they'll imply that. Same type of situation. I bet you whoever you are that would be able to imply ridiculement as such isn't acting out and covering up yourself or trying to associate yourself with the corrupted acts going on. There's a lot of things that's been busted, don't you understand? Well, hell yeah, they understand. Carl Newman's people was busted in Colorado Springs. 100% his name being said out there. I didn't physically see him enough, and there's a certain way I have to remember shit, but that isn't valid for the system to take a valid complaint for, supposedly, with the police, just because I say so. That's kind of nice. Just because they say so, they get their way, but if I say so, there's nothing that I got. Ha ha ha. You're a nutcase, huh? Who drove me that way then? Let's put it into that context, just like I told the system. I may be unstable, and there's the reasons. What they came back with is understandings of abuse, neglect, brutalized situations. That's their words. Anyways, gonna go ahead and press stop on this video and upload it. Peace. Here's a daily journal that I'm doing, like a targeted individual, or am a targeted individual, without putting it like trying to make a decision, am I or am I not. It's already understood. I don't have to claim that myself, nor would I have claimed it the right way back in the past, that way, up until I would say within the last year and a half, recently type of stuff, being done so. But you had other perfectly good strangers coming up saying you're being targeted, you're being stalked, you're being this, you're being that. We see this. These people have followed you. And there were situations where the police got involved, where they pulled over vehicles just because of suspicion of stalking, even though I didn't make the complaint for it. There's just too much to get into to talk about to put together right now, but we're a certainty. Now I'm stuck right now, dilapidated with a system that has me accused under trying to be convicted of sabotage, setup, or a crime again. And other situations. Oh, now you're incompetent, you're this. See, you need to come in and talk to us. I don't need to do anything for you, just like not just internal affairs and lawyers have said, you need to quit bothering me. We're the law, we can do whatever we want. We work with the government, we can do whatever we want. Well, that's fine to a certain extent until you break that extent, or I show to you and prove to you, which I shouldn't have to do. That's what mental health had told me is basically a mind battling game, which is basically psychological harassment and trying to place somebody in a kind of check forcefully the wrong way, psychologically challenging them to make a aggressive, agitated situation, which would be agitating and basically aggravating the other person to the point of being wrong. Anyways, with that being said, well, lost context to that for the moment, so I'm just going to go ahead and end this video. Hopefully that was understood, and I'll be uploading this here in a second. Peace. And hope everybody else, when I do go get the help that I need, and whatever comes out of my situation, I will come back and tell. I don't care what it is. I'm willing to inform my situation so others can learn, so others can have a little support, so others can come back and say, hey, this is happening to me too. And I'll say, you know, I'll stand here and I won't say I'll help a criminal. I won't say I won't help, but, you know, I'm not going to stand up and be like, well, I'm going to get you scotch-free from what you've done wrong if that's the case. But if you ain't done anything wrong, then that you acknowledge that's 100% acknowledgeable, then no, I'll help out and I'll take my situation and help out with everything that I'm coming across. FBI contacts, phone recordings, video daily diaries, even though I'm not doing all my daily diary stuff, incidences, and all I can do is give you the website target of unlawfulacts.com. It ain't great. It's just a picking of a certain amount of information. There's a video up there with law enforcement, good law enforcement, utilizing experiences of stalking and interstate stalking and how things work. Watch those videos. Because they also lawfulize things that other cops do that are misconducted and wrong, and that they can get in trouble for not producing the right, correct protective or the right, correct informational situation. There's other videos there of other victims that's been on national news, stuff like that. So there's some of my videos that might be up there, some news stories. Right now I'm just trying to build it, but point is I'm definitely going to get the proof and some proof and situations and an ability to help besides safe houses or whatever. I see that there is some out there, but I'm definitely not able to be a part of that myself due to mental health reasonings, health problems, and I would not want these people to experience the stalking and the associated stalking which other people have had. People I've come in contact with don't want to be around me anymore for the fact these people have assaulted, intimidated, and done things to them that, hey, they can't stop it, they don't want to put up with it, so hey, see you later, dude. Anyways, but anyhow, getting some good Strength and Light stuff together and posting it, besides just rambling on and trying to get into defending and other people's, and trying to create a group and not going nowhere with it, but just talking about it. I want to be productive with it. I want to show how I went through my stuff. My story should account, but some people criticize, why don't they hold up then where you're at now? But then again, that's where I'm at now, being told you're in a different place, different laws, different situations. What you're talking about doesn't apply here, even though that could be wrong information depending on what situation that is. I've also went across that. When you have to bring in internal affairs and higher deals to even get them involved is tough enough. But they also outright tell you, no, you're right, that situation's completely wrong, disregard what they said. And if anything happens, you can relate right back here. We talked, there's a case number, and you can tell them to refer to this son of a bitch, basically. In a point, if it has to become defensive, that may not have been 100% correct, like a lawyer would tell you, but this time it was good enough to be like, hey, it's for your protection. If you have to kind of utilize leverage with it for protection, then there's something wrong. And those people need to be taken care of. Anyways, once again, ending this video. Peace, and hopefully I'll put up some newer videos with good proof besides just stories, ramblings, and happenings. But what I was going to say with it is I do daily logs, which was a part of stalking.org, help networks, and everything else. Either write it down if the incidents happen, video record, audio record, if you can, if you're not afraid to, unless someone's tapping you like they are me. Upload it to the online drives, make a backup, make sure you got another location. Online storage is great because you can access it anywhere and be able to access that information later on, even if it is typed notes, audio recordings, video recordings. You have Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive. They freely upload for a certain amount of videos and audio and files automatically on some of the stuff. So that's pretty good programs to use if you have a cell phone. If not, do it through a computer. You have OneDrive, Microsoft, like .com, Google Drive, or drivegoogle.com, stuff like that. You just have to look into it. I don't know the specifics, but yeah. Uploading your stuff, that way you can get back to it, but definitely making the records of it. Electronic jamming, mishaps. Like, I had two different situations of LCD boards here. One in a thermostat, which has also been alterated for many years, being tapped into, and all the rest of the stuff and alterated. The LCD screen on that, at the same time the microwave screen, like as if you can understand, you push in on an LCD screen, the old stuff, and it'd light up all the colors in behind it. If you push it on your computer screen, you get that black dot type of stuff. But like an LCD screen, if you pushed on it, the timer digits, it goes like, shows up a bunch of stuff that's hidden in the background, and then it dissipates slowly, and then it disappears again until you push in, it lights up, or you use the feature and it lights up. But either way, both at the same time or within the same 15 minutes, both had the same happening, like a magnet was hitting them, pulling all that stuff, not just pushing. It's the same thing, but the other example is putting a magnet next to the screen, or the LCD situation. It pulls all that stuff out. It'll go haywire kind of situation. It's pulling the lights and the programming in the back out. However that works, but yeah, both at the same time in 15 minutes, if not exactly at the same time. They're almost aligned, if not exactly perfectly aligned, parallel from each other. One's in a hallway, and the microwave's in the kitchen, exactly parallel from the thermostat, the same radius. It'd be basically in almost the same straight line going through the house. You got a hallway, then you got the kitchen or whatever. Anyways, so yeah, more high tech. There's nobody standing there with a magnet. So how are they utilizing, unless it's some type of magnetical wave, and putting the unless conspiratoriated, what is it? I had evidence of the devices that they can utilize. Electromagnetical field devices, just like military grade shit. But hey, that's military. That's psychotic to talk about. Huh. I bet you I can go in my garage and put together the same equipment. You give me the same parts and I'll put together the same equipment, and then we'll call it, what is it? It's not military grade because I built it in my garage. Still military grade. It's still FCC supposedly should be regulated. So, sorry I snapped off on some asininity stuff that was said to me, and it's just as easy, just like cell phone jammers. I got a video on the website itself showing how that's done. A $900 jammer being built for $60. That's expensive equipment. Who could afford that? Huh. Well, I don't know. When you take $900 and you turn it into 60, that's very affordable. Anyways, and even though, let's get off of them even making it. The affordability, these guys can afford it. They can afford to travel. They can afford to grouply do shit. I can show you how a group ring kind of works to a point, or give an example, and it wouldn't even be that hard. $5 a day out of 20 people for donations towards the causes that they want as a group. It's no different than a treasurer to a criminal organization. Basically, you might as well say they are a criminal organization because they're not completely working lawfully. They have loopholes they can work through that makes it lawful to a point, unless they can be found that way, but it's hard because they're loopholes. But $5 a day out of 20 people, how much is that? It's $100 a day times 30. That's $3,000 a month. That's enough to buy 3 $900 kind of jammers. And let's say you only need one because your group shares. There's group shares. You give one over to here, there, here. Whoever's on watch gets the devices that's being used. Or whoever's targeting the person at the time, or whatever they're doing. So you have $3,000 times 10 months is $30,000, plus 2 more makes 12 months, would be $36,000 a year for devices. $5 a day out of 20 people. You recruit more than that when you got a people, especially if they're drug dealing and they have mass rings, 30, 40, 50 different people at $5 a day. Double your ante at 20, make it 40 people. Now you're looking at $60,000 or $72,000 a year just out of $5 donations a day out of all 60 people. Lessen it. 10 people. That's still $50 a day. That's gas money, that's their fuel, that's everything else. Easy conception. Very easy. Even if you did $1 a day, who could afford 5? Especially when they're working high-tech, certifying themselves, educating themselves to target with, when they're paying tuitions that are more costly than what most people make in a lifetime type of situation. May not be right remark, but you get the point. Yeah. Let's get a little bit into that, even though I said I was going to end that real quick in the video. Let's put this together. $1 a day by 20 people. That's $600 a month. 600 by like 12 is probably about $7,300 a year. That's good enough for a small group to go out and buy some electronic jammers to mess around with stuff. And some of it ain't even just jamming. I talk about jamming like it makes the phone inoperable. What about data theft? Picking up files, eavesdropping equipment. Little radar guns, $300 for an okay one. A wall eavesdropper. A spy cam system like Nanny Cam. A small unprofessional or low-grade professional one, $300. Wi-Fi enabled to be connected to a wireless device to be able to be seen anywhere in the world, which was set up elsewhere, I know for a fact. This new high-tech shit, why is the new high-tech stuff? I'm going back to 1999 and 2000, when some of the Wi-Fi cameras never existed, high-tech wasn't exactly, or it was too expensive. Found the systems that they was using, and the systems were, they was expensive, $1,000. You hook it into a damn phone line type of situation. It was the old phone line type of cameras, old phone line type of microphones, and you could tap into a phone number. 56K video. Yeah, wasn't perfect, but hey, audio you could do perfectly. You cut the cameras off, 56K of audio, just like a fucking phone call going through a microphone. You're not looking at Wi-Fi, you're looking at phone lines. It's not too high-tech, is it? That's 1999 and 2000, 20 years ago. Today, you got all kinds of brand new stuff, so, yeah. Not to ramble on too much, to make point. Wow. A lot of different ways. If I had the money myself, which I kind of came up with. I mean, I won't say I came up with, but for myself, I don't want to show my house off too much. But there's cables hanging here. Here's a good deal. I must be utilizing that criminal nosing, brown nosing, and all the rest. No, this helps out, and they hate it. They hate it. They've been jamming this system since day one. Matter of fact, they burned out a whole system, and I replaced it with this system. They've burned out hard drives, so I couldn't record and go back on. I replaced those hard drives. I've had some money into this stuff. Surveillance. There's now, which is also, I have other videos. What's that? That's an in-house cam with a little bit of night vision. Ain't expensive. Well, it is actually. $100 for that one. DVR system, $300 for myself. They don't like that. It ain't top-notch professional. I had a security system in here, not ADT. It went through the cable company. They came and figured out there's something interfering with the system. They couldn't tell, and when they can't tell, that means it is a breach. It is a security breach. It is a professional or high-tech security type of breach. Should not be able to happen. They should be able to detect the reasons and causes and the technical malfunctions in their system, and they could not understand the reasoning behind it. That was 4 years ago? Almost 5, I think, maybe. Wow. So, just getting off on some technical device situations there. If I can afford it, these other guys that can work a job that ain't been stumped on to the point they're having difficulties living, all the rest of the stuff, they definitely can afford it. And if they put their initiative and their power where they're not being drawn down, they're not being crushed to the point that they don't have the motivation or even the accessibility of the motivation to be able to do the things that they want to daily, well, they can apply themselves of involving themselves just like I did to look into the information, and hey, I'll just go in and pick up this stuff. I'll make this myself. I'll build it in my garage. I'll go buy it off the black market. There was something that was said by the NSA, but technically it was a National Intelligence Committee meeting, which does the whole realm of CIA, NSA, government intel, everything. And the CIA and NSA sat up there and said, it's not our agencies always doing this to people. You can get, and it's sad that the black market, there's people out there utilizing technologies we're not allowed to utilize as a government daily. Gangland, organized crime, corrupted situations. Being able to utilize this against the people that are complaining against our agencies. And they don't get prosecuted like our agencies have. Nobody has made a complaint about that, or it hasn't been represented publicly, awaratively enough to show that this is a mishap and how to take care of that. The only thing is the government. No, I'm not going to 100% back the, ragging the government because they have, or not ragging the government because they do have problems, and sometimes, just like law enforcement misconduction, as government, that's you guys or the government's involvement, even though it's not everyone type of situation, but hey, you still back each other because you have that profile that somebody's done wrong and it's them doing it wrong, so that associates. By association, that is government. But that was a good stand. That was a video and a National Security Committee meeting. I do believe it was December of 2013 or January of 2014. That long ago. You have terrorists out here utilizing better devices than we are, or if not, having more access because they just illegally access the stuff. So, and to get off just high tech, that's somebody's ridiculed me. That's terrorists. They have a lot of money and founding. Who gives a shit, dude? The people that I'm dealing with, you can't tell me you ain't seen a lot of money involved. It'd take a lot of money to file the damn paperwork to make a complaint against myself anyhow. You didn't put together that they know this, somebody else has elsewhere. And different systems, different people, that's right. Because sometimes information isn't relayed right, and that's how you pop the ones that are trying to be corrupt with the system and informative and everything else, because they don't know certain situations prior and trying to take advantage of your intelligence and your intellect. And then now it's MacGyver to, here, I'll tell you how things work rather than the way they should have worked. But anyways, so even without being terrorists, just regular people. And that's what the National Intelligence Committee also put out. Ganglands, gangs, shit, you sell $500 worth of dope per member a day. You don't think they can't afford the $5 donation treasury deposit there a day out of their gang members? And when you think of a gang, try to make it, what, small? 6 people? And then they probably have their connects and their enforcement. But even if you do 6 to 10 people, $5 a day, that's $600 a month. That's a lot of money. Free money to be spent on handguns, but let's just all go towards technology. Or even organize benefits, gas money for those who are utilizing their cars to drive around to stalk. To utilize to go to the store to create havoc, to enforce stuff. Who pays them? Like, what do they get out of it? More than likely money from some type of sourcing. Anyways, to get off all this stuff, like I said, I wanted to end this video way premature, and it just came out, so I figured I'd continue because it was good information. When you got National Intelligence Committee for electronic devices being utilized, and they're saying that the government's being harshly, which some of it is the government, but when they're persecuted harder than whatnot and not having access or as much access, and also stating publicly national TV during the committee meeting to the public, what kind of a situation, like CNSBC, public channel, whatever, it's national, and saying that nationally draws the attention that, hey, anybody can do this. I shouldn't have to be ridiculed that it takes somebody that has a bunch of money. I shouldn't have to make it out that it's also government, when you should be checking out what kind of group, cult, terrorism, whatever it be. Need probable cause? Well, you need to change your laws or something to figure out the probable cause to that. You can probably cause the CIA, NSA, that they're utilizing this shit, and who knows, that it'd be kind of crazy that you have somebody out there that is illegally operating intelligence that has no government affiliation and wiping shit onto the government for what they're doing. And hey, everybody, it's a believable situation. Only the government has this power, so blame them. Well, it needs to start being understood not to fully make sure you blame the right people. It's time to investigate to figure out how to do that. It's time to make the funds available for cell phone oscillators or oscillators to track device jamming, device electronic use, and everything else to law enforcement. There is law enforcement, multitudes of different states across the United States here, where I'm at, that do have access. Sometimes they need to play with probable cause, which sucks. Some of them don't, and I went through some of it, like Florida. And they opened up a cell phone jammer situation and found out my cell phone was being jammed to the point I couldn't even make a 911 call. The thing is the cheap, I hate saying this, after having help, the cheap bastard that came out was probably a part of the situation for the fact, oh, I didn't bring the right 100% correct equipment. This can't tell me who it was. It's just telling me that it is being jammed and 100%. Here, get in my car and we'll take a ride, get away from the signal type of situation. And the signal broke. It came back. I was able, within a 5-minute car drive, if not a little less, the signal come back to the phone. But with that being said, I was also hiking on the highway. That may have been that incident. There's a couple of incidences down south that I was hiking and law enforcement was involved. Noticing on top that there's other things involved, like stalking more than likely going on. But without proof, they can't help out. But anyways, to provide these law enforcement agencies that want to come up and rag that every time you talk about some situation that seems crazy to them, that they get to imply schizophrenia, mental health, are you okay? I don't know. Why don't you check back with your fucking government and see if you're okay? But anyways, the ridiculement, stuff like that. But yeah, definitely law enforcement having the access without misusing it themselves, which is a problem locally here. Oops, I have access. I'm the law. It says I have access to this, so I'll utilize it whatever which way I want. So, responsibility. Who's going to pay the funds to regulate that when Internal Affairs has so many cases up its ass because of their people misutilizing their shit? It's a probability. It could be possible, right? Not saying that it is. Well,